All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Eric Evanson. I'm the business development and creative lead here at Global Reach. Thank you for joining us for this month's installment of Tips and Tricks. Today, Stephen Edelman, our digital strategy manager, will be presenting some tips and tricks on Instagram for business, branding, and e-commerce. Very exciting stuff. After his presentation, we'll open the floor for some Q&A regarding today's presentation or anything really website related. We have digital marketers, project managers, and designers here today, so we should have you covered. And thanks again for joining. We appreciate it. Steve, take it away.
All righty. So for those of you who have not been to one of these recently, I highly recommend grabbing a pen and paper, some kind of notebook, because a lot of people like to take notes during these because there's a lot of good information. However, if you don't have that readily available, the good news is that we are recording this on a couple of different platforms, and we'll be able to share that on Facebook, on YouTube, and most likely also on Instagram. And that's important because Instagram and content and how to include Instagram in not only your social strategy for 2021, but also monetize it and make money off of it is a core piece of what we're going to talk about today. So first and foremost, if you have an Instagram account, awesome. If you are watching this later on Instagram, then obviously you have the account. But if not, there's a lot of people who have steered clear of Instagram because they feel like it's not something that's in their business model, or they feel like it's not something that they can find super beneficial because they don't think their target audience is in there. And the fallacy with that is the fact that your audience is on almost every social platform, no matter what your industry is. You just have to build that community. You have to build that audience, and that takes work. So you definitely want to create one. Now, all of this information that I'm providing today is also available on a blog that we recently did at globalreach.com/blog. And there's a great graphic. It basically looks like a phone with a shop over it. And that's where a lot of these key takeaways are going to be. But there's also some information on a little more in-depth things. So kind of an overview, what we'll be talking about is how to set up a business account, the different types of account, and understanding whether or not, like, which ones you need, the best practices to build engagement, the different features of Instagram that you should take advantage of and why and how, and also finally how to set up an Instagram shop. And then I hope to end with a really cool tool that Twitter literally put out this week that lists out every single thing that should be trending or could be and probably will be trending across all of social media for the entire year. So that is a gold mine for anybody who has a social media schedule and is trying to plan ahead. And it's not just for the United States, it's for the entire world. So it's awesome. I'm going to share that at the end, so stay tuned for that. So when you're building out your Instagram profile, you can either be a user, which is what the average person is, you can be a creator, or you can set it up as a business. So the reason that you want to have your account set, by default, you're set up as a regular user. You have it tied to your Facebook account, or you can log in with your Facebook account. But the reason that as a business you want to set it up to be either a creator or a business is because then you get access to real-time insights. Hi, Susan. Real-time insights and analytics that you can't get unless you're either a creator or a business. And the actual dashboard set up via either business or creator is a little bit different as well, but they offer similar information. You also get promotional capabilities. So not just the ability to do ads on Instagram, but also the ability to promote your products. And we'll get to that in just a second as well. So if you don't have an Instagram account, it's really simple. It's 4 steps. You download the app, you sign up for it, you go into your settings, and then you scroll down to switch to a business account, and then you can link it to your Facebook account if you have a Facebook business account. You can also link it to other social profiles like Twitter, which makes it really, really easy for cross-platform sharing. And we're in a weird time where a lot of the social platforms are kind of battling for eyeballs and for attention. So any way that you can kind of automate it to post to other platforms, you definitely should. You can also link it to Pinterest, which is also a huge, huge opportunity, because anything you link to Instagram or you post on Instagram, you can set up to post to a Pinterest board specifically for those 24 hours later. So you can use Instagram as a hub to feed to 4 different social media platforms. And that's awesome. So we're going to talk now. I'm going to shift gears from the actual setting up of an account to some of the best practices for engagement. Use the features. So each platform has features, and these features are things that they roll out not only to provide the best user experience, but also, and probably more so, to beat the competition, to get your attention for longer, and to keep your audience's attention for longer, and to get you to build out content that is extremely valuable and that is something that people will consume and continue to consume and keep people on their platform for longer. Instagram stories is the first feature that we're going to talk about. There's a lot of people who are like, I don't really use stories because, you know, I don't get it. What's the point of having something that only lasts for 24 hours? Well, there's a lot of point to it. One, it basically steals the above the fold. So when you log in, all the things that you follow, you'll see a little orb at the top with a rainbow on it. That's either people who are live or people who have shared to their story in the last 24 hours. And so a really easy way to build up community is to tag other people in your stories. There's so much creative content you can do with stories, such as having special text, different colored text. You can add stickers. You could actually set it up to support a nonprofit. It's like there's a cause sticker, and then you can tag that nonprofit. So you can support nonprofits and show, if you are not a nonprofit, show your social responsibility side a little bit better. And then you can also do a lot of audience, marketing and marketing analysis has never been easier than it is right now, because you can use Instagram stories to run surveys and say, okay, this or that. So if you have two different bottles of a product and you want to know which one the audience is going to like better, post two pictures and you can actually have them vote on their poll, this or that. So it's free market research for your audience once you've built that up. And you can actually save them by hitting, there's a feature you can click on there that'll let you save that so it shows up on your profile later, and you'll always have that there. There's so much engagement. In fact, 78% of brands, this is a stat that comes from Instagram, 78% of brands say that stories has had a massive impact on their brand strategy. And personally, I mentioned this at the very beginning here, I've been doing a lot of research on Instagram and its effectiveness. And one of the things that I've done to build my audience about 300% in the last 30 days was featuring other pages on Instagram and engaging with other pages, especially in stories. It really has helped, and it captures attention. It helps you connect with people. So that's huge. And the second feature you should use is called Reels. Reels is a relatively new feature, and it was built to fight TikTok, basically. So TikTok was actually banned in India not too long ago. Seeing this, Instagram and YouTube both started beta testing Reels and a thing called YouTube Shorts in India. YouTube Shorts is still beta testing, but short form content is really big, on the rise, is going to continue to be on the rise for the foreseeable future. So a Reel is basically like a TikTok, except it shows up both on your feed, on your actual grid on your Instagram, but also as content that people can watch later. And it's consumable because it's 30 seconds or less. So with Reels, you can put a picture in there, you can upload a video from your phone, you can take and just do a straight video. And one thing I will tell you that I learned, and I got to tell you, so here's a good example of why Reels is a big deal. So to test a theory I had, they said that TikTok is like the biggest organic that you can do. Like it's got the huge organic reach. So I posted one thing to TikTok with a certain set of verbiage and hashtags. The exact same post with the same content, same verbiage, same hashtags, I posted on Reels 2 minutes later. So same time frame. And I had 45 views on TikTok. I had over 2,000 in less than an hour on Reels. So organically speaking, it's wide open for Instagram Reels, but you want to use the hashtag anytime you do an Instagram Reels, because you can actually do a title and a description. Use two specific hashtags. Hashtags are a big part of it. I'll come back to this, but hashtag Reels, R-E-E-L-S, and hashtag Reels Instagram. Those two are really, really big, and they really help the algorithm understand that you're helping promote this. And the reason that this is so big right now is that these platforms tend to open up the organic reach of new features. So when you're an early adopter, you have an opportunity to jump in and build your audience using these new features because you become an advocate for it. So they share it more organically to people that you don't follow, but your followers are connected to. You'll start to see it. And what's really interesting is as you build your audience on Instagram, you organically start getting introduced to more people that are in your target demographic. And this is true for any social platform, but it's basically under 300 followers, I would say. The algorithm doesn't necessarily know, because there's millions of people, doesn't necessarily know the type of people you're trying to reach. So by analyzing your interactions, the things you comment on, the people that comment on you, the types of pages you follow, more specifically the types of pages that follow you, it starts to learn who your audience is, and you'll see organic growth. So for the past 2 days, I haven't really posted a whole lot on Instagram at all. And what's amazing about that is I've still gotten, I think 10 followers 2 days ago, and so far 5 followers before 10 a.m. that just are organically doing it, because my content is being recognized as valuable to this specific type of person. So it's building up the audience organically for me now, because the algorithm has caught it and realized, okay, this is who this guy is. This is the kind of thing he offers. So I went from, I think it was maybe 300 followers a month ago to now I'm close to 700 followers. And all I had to do was use these different types of things. And I don't spend a whole lot of time. It's maybe a half an hour to an hour total in a day to put content together and then share it and repurpose it. So Reels is huge. Instagram Stories is huge. The next thing I'll recommend, and I don't think businesses can do this until you hit a certain follower point, but I know creators can, is go live. So when you go live with behind the scenes, with Q&As, with insights, with with anything like that, and you engage your audience, you give your audience an opportunity to engage with you. One, it's going to promote that. It's going to tell your followers you're live right now. And there's the FOMO thing, the fear of missing out. People don't want to miss out on the opportunity to see you live and maybe participate in that. So they might do Q&A, they might ask to go live with you. But where the big value for me is, you can, once you're done going live, it'll say, okay, what do you want to do with this video? Do you want to share it to IGTV, which is a section where you can do videos that are over a minute and up to a half hour, I think. Do you want to share this on IGTV, or do you want to download it to your device? So then you have a video from live that you can repurpose content. So for me, I strip the audio, I use it for one thing, I'll put it as an IGTV, I'll download it, and then I'll add an intro to it and an outro to it, and now I have video content that I can put on YouTube. And so this one little thing that I did becomes repurposable content that's super easy to do. And I didn't just get this because I'm really good at coming up with ideas on how to reuse content. I got this because that's what Facebook is doing. Like actually Facebook, it's called Facebook Creators and Instagram Creators. They're going live. And they're engaging their community, and they're featuring people, and they're featuring things that are important. They're featuring all kinds of people who are using their technology, and then they're repurposing it. They're sharing it on their own platform. So it's a great opportunity to get in front of more people. Just about every time I've gone live, I then see that I have 3 or 4 more followers. But here's the kicker. It's not usually from the live. Sometimes it's from the live stream. Where I get this from is actually from the residual value, because now I have an IGTV video that shows up as a 50-second introduction that shows up on my feed. And then so it can be seen not only on my grid there, but also anybody who follows me will get a 15-second thing. They click on it, which is engagement and click-through rate, and then they watch the video. And the longer they watch it, the better it does, and shows that I have more valuable content to offer. So going live is really big. And then one of the most underrated and underutilized tools that's out there, I call it a secret feature because most people don't even see it or don't know about it, is called guides. And guides, you can actually set it up so you do guides on places, you can do guides on products, or you can do guides using your posts. So when Instagram first came out with Reels, I did a series of short Reels that explained my predictions for how it's going to compete with TikTok and my predictions on what Reels was all about and why it was so important. And then I talked about how to do a Reel and how to set it up. And what I did was I went to guides, and then I clicked that I wanted to set it up using posts. And now I have an 8-post guide on how to use Instagram Reels and why it's a big deal and why you should. And all of that was just experimenting with it. So when you put these together, you can choose a title that's keyword value. You can choose descriptions for each of these, and they all fit. Think of it like a living infographic using images that you've already shared on your Instagram feed. So if you have, for example, I know that Fairway is a great example. They have this thing called Cart to Kitchen, and that it's basically really short consumable content that's fantastic, and it's all about shopping and building up, building value by saying it's easy to cook. Here's the ingredients you need. Bada bing, bada boom, ta-da, right? And so if they took all of these reels and put them into a guide, then you then now have seven meals in 7 days, and there you go. You have a guide. So it's really easy. For places, when you set up a places guide, it lets you tag that place. So if that place has an Instagram profile, then they're likely to share that to their audience, which is almost always bigger than yours. Especially if it's like a city location. So for example, if you were doing an outdoor venue feature, not today because there's a blizzard, so forget about that. But if you're doing an outdoor venue blizzard and you set up a guide about that place and maybe have your own review, they're likely to see that. My favorite is products, because you want to sell stuff on Instagram. You want to build the revenue. And that's really what all of this is coming to, is new ways to build revenue. And so you can actually highlight specific products in your guides, and they don't have to be yours. They can be your products, or you can do somebody else's products, but it's a really interesting way to get in front of people. And the more different ways that you use the content, the better the algorithm sees you are doing that, and will push you out organically. It will promote you organically. So last but not least, and this is kind of a big one. This is probably why most people came to the training today. Brought to you by Facebook. No. Is the shop. So e-commerce, as everybody can imagine, thanks to COVID, e-commerce blew up way bigger than anybody expected. I mean, we all thought that e-commerce was going to be huge in the digital marketing world, but nobody could really foresee how a global pandemic that lasts over a year would really hit it hard. And so now we have, instead of e-commerce, we have social commerce. And so both Facebook and Instagram have made it easier for people to set up their own e-commerce shops. You can have an Etsy website. You can have your own website that sells products. As long as there is some kind of a website that has products that you can sell, setting up a guide is super duper easy. And this is where it's really cool. According to Instagram, 70% of shoppers discovered a product from a photo or a video that was shared on Instagram. So once you have a shop set up, you can tag your products in your posts. So imagine if you had, say you have t-shirts that you sell, or chairs or something like that. You could take a picture of a room that has, we'll say chairs, we'll say it's a furniture store, right? So you have all these, you take a picture of a room, and then you can tag individual products, and each of those links brings up features in a picture, but links back to your website to promote sales without you having to pay for extra for advertising. So it's a really easy way to build up a bigger revenue stream, and it can work for anything. Say you just have swag, like promotional swag for your business, sell it. You'd be surprised how many people will buy products just because it has a cool logo that they really support. I've seen this a lot I've been learning a lot about podcast promoting, and in the podcast community, no matter how big the audience is, a lot of them have merch that they sell, and they do it not only on their own website and some of them on Etsy, but most of them do it through Facebook and Instagram, just because it's so easy to set up. So setting up a shop is actually not, again, it's not very hard at all. And there's a website that you can go to that will show you specifically how to set it up. And it's actually, you can find all kinds of great information on business.instagram.com, but /shopping/setup. And it's a step-by-step guide on how to set it up. So step one, you got to confirm your eligibility. You make sure that you've got a supported market, which most places are supported markets. You have to have at least one product. And you have to make sure that the merchant agreement and commerce policies are followed, which is, the legalese stuff. And then if you own a domain where you can sell from, you're good to go. That's how you comply. If you have, now I should say, users themselves can't set up a shop. So you have to have a business or a creator account. Once you have a business or a creator account, then you can set up a shop. And then you'll have to connect it to your Facebook page. So if you don't have a Facebook page for your business, you'll want to get that set up as well. And it tells you on the website that I mentioned before, all of the steps on how to do that. And then you can either do one of two things. You can either upload an entire product catalog, or you can manually do it one product at a time. And I'm a fan of setting up a couple of products at a time so you can test and see which ones do well and play with it. See how, that's the thing about digital marketing. So much of it is experimenting and trial and error, because as you've built your audience, audiences respond differently in different essentially cultures, I guess would be the best way to put it. So in the culture of Twitter, people respond one way, whereas the culture of Instagram, they respond a completely different way. So figure out the types of things. You want to have good, strong, engaging visual content, but figure out the type of things you can sell on there and your top selling items, and then do it that way. Once you've already set up some products, you'll have to submit your account for review, and you literally just go to settings and then you go to shopping, and that's it. You click sign up for shopping and you submit the account for review. Once they do, which usually doesn't take very long at all, they essentially you have to verify your domain to prove that you have a website. And once that's done, you can turn on the shopping feature. You just go back into settings, you click business, you go to shopping, and then you click which catalog that you want to connect to your account, and you're good to go. And then you start tagging your pictures, and that's where it gets really cool. So you post, say you do what's called a carousel post, which has multiple images in it. Once you've added the photo, there will be a thing where you can click tag products. And once you've tagged your product, if somebody clicks on it, it'll bring up a little information about that with the price, and then a huge button that says view on my website. And so it's that easy. Once people, they see it, they want to buy it, done. And again, 70% of people who bought, you saw this. Then you'll also get access in Instagram stories to adding shopping stickers. So that's another big thing if you want to do promotions. I've seen before COVID happened, I went to a big Facebook training event, and there was a company that said they don't do any kind of online advertising whatsoever except for on Instagram. And they built very, very quickly six-figure income specifically from sales on the leads that came from Instagram, including ads. So it's definitely a resource worth taking advantage of. And setting up a shop isn't that hard. And then the last tip that I have here is to get social. You really, really do want to engage with your audience. You want to build your audience. You want to understand your audience. And, even joining groups to help cross promote each other is a great idea. It does take time, but the more time that you invest and the more you really understand your audience, the better you can do. And so make sure you're using proper hashtags. You can have up to 30 hashtags in a post, and Pinterest and Instagram are the two biggest hashtag platforms on the planet right now. And so it's again, this is all stuff that's worth knowing. It's stuff that's worth checking out, and I highly recommend it. Now, as for the social calendar that I promised, and I will share this link a little bit later, but if you go to business.twitter.com /en/resources/Twitter-marketing calendar-calendar.html. So every year Twitter puts out a marketing calendar, and this marketing calendar goes through the entire year, and you can choose specific calendars. So if you just want the US, you can do that. If you want to do any country, you can do that. But what's cool about it is the minute you click on that calendar, it's going to list out exactly, and it might take a second because I'm screen sharing here, but it's going to list out exactly what the big events that are happening that month are. So we're in February. First day of Black History Month was obviously February 1st. PGA season started on February 1st also. Everybody knows about Groundhog's Day and that jerk groundhog that saw his shadow. But did you know that Overwatch League starts? Now, maybe you don't care about gaming, but mentioning that can kind of get you in, with that community. So some of these obviously wouldn't have to do with necessarily your audience, but, can you use President's Day? Can you use the Golden Globe Awards and mention that? If you're, again, I'll go back to the furniture shop, for example. If the Golden Globes are coming up, you can say, schedule out a post right the week before and say, if you're going to watch the Golden Globes, you're going to want to do it in comfort, and post a picture of a couch or whatever it is, sofa, Davenport, if you will, depending on where you are. But all of these key moments are highlighted. And the reason that even though this is made for Twitter specifically, what trends on Twitter tends to trend everywhere. So having this mapped out for the entire year of major events that are coming up, key moments, major holidays, it's a really great thing to prepare for. My biggest piece of advice, though, is to be very careful about specific events if you're not sure. Don't post just to post. And because you see maybe that it is trending, or that it's trending, do research and make sure you understand. So for example, if I were to post on Twitter, "Are you hungry? #me too," anybody who knows anything about the Me Too movement knows that that would be a huge mistake, and it would make me look insensitive, unprofessional, and it would be horrible. And there are tons of horror stories about similar things, big brands doing that. So knowing that this exists is great, but if it's like, for example, I know what Cinco de Mayo is. Does anybody know what any of the other ones are? And if you do, great. If it's relevant to your business, great. If not, I would either stay away from it or do a little bit more research before you jump into it. So a lot of great information on this link. And again, I will be sharing that a little bit later, but I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I'm happy to take any questions that anybody has, either now or later if you watch this later and come back. That is a fantastic question. It kind of depends on your platform of choice, on where your audience is. I think that, you know, using the front side of it is a good idea, but the business side is really where you can get a lot more done. A lot of people don't realize that the business side is even there. And so I'm a big fan of, again, getting to know the tools that are presented and figuring out what you can see there that you can't see elsewhere, especially when it comes to like Facebook ads, for example. You can see a lot more analytics in Facebook ads, and you can set it up a lot better on the back end than you can if you just boost a post. But there are a lot of different back end tools that you can use. So there's the Facebook's publishing tools is a good one. There's like a creator studio side of it. There's a lot of different places, so it kind of depends where. But yeah, I think it's a good idea to really get in there. The key advice I can give there, though, is make sure that you're keeping an eye on messages, both comments and messages on both platforms. So Facebook shows you when you get comments on Instagram, if the two are tied. And when somebody sends you a message or comments, they especially if it's a complaint, they expect a response within 24 hours. On Twitter, it's 1 hour. You have 1 hour to respond. But that response can be simply a like, clicking, or a love, or a thanks for sharing, or whatever, some kind of engagement. And when you, as a brand, engage with your audience in that way, it builds value. It makes them feel good, because then they know that you care, that they're there. So, you know, no matter how deep you get into the back end side of it and you get into the business side of it, keep in mind that your strategy has to include, no matter how much you automate, it has to include a human element, because that's what social media is all about, actually. So when you're on Instagram, you hit the little plus sign up in the corner, or if you go to your profile and hit the plus sign, it shows you all these different options of the type of post you can do. One of them is Reels. So if you're going to post a regular post, down at the bottom, normally a picture comes up, it goes to regular post, but down the bottom, you'll see Reels, post, live, IGTV. When you click on Reels, it'll pull up like a little interface that's a lot like TikTok. And if you haven't been on TikTok, then you're not, I mean, it's a little easier than TikTok in my opinion, so you might be okay. But it has all these different creator tools. Like you can do weird filters, you can do voice changing, you can do augmented reality stuff, or you can just do a straight video. But basically and you choose your length. It's either going to be 15 seconds or 30 seconds. And there's a little bar that goes across the top as you hit record, so you can see how much time you have left. And then you just create something. And it's basically a 15-second video or 30-second video that shows up on the feed. And the cool thing is when you do a 30-second video, it shows the first 15 seconds on your followers' feeds. So they would see 15 seconds, and then after 15 seconds, it stops and says, watch on Reels. And when they click on that, it pulls up the full video, and then it's like a whole nother site. In fact, I know that there are a lot of people out there who specifically use Instagram for Reels as if it's its own TV, because you can literally just go through and engage the audience and create all this short form digestible content. It's like binge watching on Netflix, but in a much more condensed way. I don't know if that clarifies.
And videos on Reels don't, correct me if I'm wrong, they can be much longer. You just get the first 15 seconds and then you go watch on Reels, and you can be
sort of. With Reels, you literally have 30 seconds. It cuts it off at 30 seconds. TikTok actually started that way, and then they expanded it to 60 seconds. And if you have a big enough audience, you can go longer than that. But with Reels, you have 30 seconds. So if you want to do and so that's what makes it great for like quick tips And for quick promotional stuff, you know, hey, did you check out this, blah, 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 ta-da. Or, hey, just a reminder, we've got this thing coming up, and that's it. Just a quick personal video, boom, you know, or if you have a little trailer, whatever. That's what Reels is good for. If you want it to be more than that, if you gotta, I mean, there's like a 30 seconds and 1 minute where you're just kind of like, sorry, there's nothing, they don't have anything for you. But if it's 1 minute or longer, then it can become an IGTV video.
Ah, that's what it is.
Yeah. So IGTV is Instagram television, and it is its own thing essentially. And so once you share to IGTV, it gives you the opportunity to pick your thumbnail, and it does that with Reels too. And then it lets you choose the title, and it lets you use a description, and that's where you can fill that up with hashtags or whatever you want. And then, yeah, so that's what's up with IGTV. I mean, I guess you can post, I know that you can post to, here's your option. So if you just want to post a regular video that's between 0 and 60 seconds, a regular post will let you do that.
Sometimes I know with IGTV, it'll show you the first maybe 30 seconds, and then, it, like you said, then it says watch on IGTV, I think, and then you can go watch the rest of it. Exactly.
And IGTV can be much longer. I think you have up to half an hour that you can do, depending. I think yeah, it's up to a half hour, because I've done 15-minute IGTV videos before. So yeah, in fact, this video, half of it will probably be an IGTV video. So Madhu, looks like we've got it. What can I do for you, Madhu?
Hi, good morning. So for Instagram, you can only go from Instagram to Facebook. You can't go from Facebook to Instagram, right?
No.
It's just set up that way.
No, you can. You can go from Facebook to Instagram. Yep.
You can?
Yep. So
and where would you do that?
So on the business side of your Facebook page,
okay,
you'll see that you have a publishing tools option that shows up on the links on the side. And if you click on that, you can, if you add one image, it will let you share that to both Facebook and Instagram.
So is it okay? Okay. Is that new, or was it always there?
No, it's been there, but I think what the problem is that with publishing tools, one, a lot of people don't know about it, and two, people like to add multiple images to publishing tools. It's the easiest way to do a carousel post, because you can link to different links on your website, and it's really fast and easy way to do that. But unfortunately, when you start doing that, then it takes away the functionality to share to Instagram. So it has to, in order to be a share on Instagram, it has to have one image. You might be able to do multiples, but you just can't add links. And if you do more than that, or you don't include a link or an image rather, I'm sorry, then it won't let you schedule to Instagram. So it's a little touchy. But I personally think that it's easiest to do it the other way. If visual and video and picture is a regular part of your social strategy, I really like the way that it's built out on Instagram, because it's a lot easier. You just click one thing to share it to your business page.
So in Facebook, I can link it directly to my website. I can't do that in Instagram, right? So
you can.
I can. Yeah, LinkedIn bio or something, right?
Yeah, let's talk about the link in bio thing. So Instagram, again, platforms like to keep you on their platform. So one of the things that they do is they make it so if you add a link to the description, it's not clickable on Instagram. However, if it shares that same description to other platforms, Twitter, Facebook, then that link becomes clickable on those platforms. As far as the link in bio thing goes, a lot of people are disappointed because you can only have one link there. Well, there's a great website called solo.to, SOLO.tu, and that allows you for free to add several links. So you could have one to your YouTube, you could have one to your Facebook, you could have one to your Twitter, you could have one to whatever. I recommend building a page on, if you want to share all of your platforms, build the page on your website itself to all of, they call it Get Social or whatever, and have all of the links to your various social platforms. And then on Instagram, have that be the link in your bio, because then people will go to your website and they'll see all of these various social links and have those open in new windows.
So what does that look like? Like you build it on your website, you said?
Yeah, just add it as a static page on the back end. Yep.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to,
Don't
but
know what
so,
that is.
yeah, so just adding a new page, and the cool thing about it is, especially if you're using SiteViz, that you don't have to have that listed anywhere else except have it just be there. So it can be there specifically for the purpose of it having links that go to your other social platforms. And honestly, on the bottom of your website, you're going to have the links to your social, like in your footer, you'll have links to your social platforms too. So
Okay, so that's already there. Okay, so one last question. Okay, so people say that you don't want to post the same thing on Facebook and Instagram if you want people to follow both. So if you are just linking everything, then do you want to scatter it, or is it okay to post it on the same day?
That's a great question. So when you're sharing from one platform to another, that's okay. When we say, as digital marketers, when we say you don't want the exact same content on every platform, we just mean like all of your posts. So it's a good idea to engage the community in its own way. Here's a prime example. Say you have a great video. Statistics show that the majority of videos on Facebook aren't listened to, they're watched visually. So having a person speaking doesn't do a whole lot, because if I'm thumbing through my feed with my phone on mute and I just see a person talking, that doesn't help. So you want to have big captions there. However, on the flip side of that, that exact same video will perform better on YouTube if it has good audio quality, because the majority of people who use YouTube actually listen to it. So repurposing content on different platforms is a great idea. If you do 1 or 2 posts a day, even across your various social platforms, that's fine. But when we say you should, not post the exact same thing, I would say a good best practice is to make sure that you have one unique post once in a while. Like if you're going to do 2 posts a day, one of them can be shared across all the platforms, but then each platform you might want to have a separate post later in the day, whatever your analytics say is the best time. And it can be something as simple as shouting out, "Hey, Facebook," and whatever the post is. It literally, that's all it has to be different. Or, changing up the video a little bit.
Okay, can I ask one more question? Is there anybody else in line?
I think you might be good. Matt was asking about the Creator Studio I was talking about, but I can come back to that. Go ahead with your question.
Okay, so recently, all of a sudden, in my Facebook, invite a friend button seems to have disappeared. I have searched it on Google everywhere, and it used to be so easy. I just go in there and I could invite my friends from personal page too, and now it's not there. Do you know why?
Well, part of that is because Facebook is always trying to update its user interface to make it user-friendly, but also to get people to do what they want it to do. So a lot of tools, and they would ideally like you to promote your page rather than just inviting people. They would love it if you do this, create an ad, right? But if you want to invite people, this right here usually lets you do it. Oh, weird.
It's not there.
What about this one?
It's not there either. It says share.
Invite friends.
But that's not invite friends.
No, but that
Mine doesn't have that anymore.
Oh, weird. Okay. I'm not sure why that would be. It might be the type of page that you have too. If yeah, it could be because there's different types of pages that you can have set up on your Facebook, and so if yours is set up differently, then you may not have some like I'm not a nonprofit. So we don't have the